Welcome back to another review by Mega Train Lover. Today we're having a look at a Hornby locomotive this time, as you can see, and you can probably tell from the picture on the box that this is a Great Western designed locomotive, and it is indeed a Great Western Railway Grange class locomotive. Now, as you can see, this is quite an old model. You can tell based on the packaging, also the box is quite worn as well. But if we turn to the side, the product code is R2548 and it's a BR460 Grange class, and it's called Frankton Grange, and it is weathered. And it says DCC ready, but I've already fitted it with the decoder, and its number is 6816. Now, before I go into the real history about the locomotive, the real Grange class locomotive, this particular model is actually quite significant in my collection. It is my final ever purchase from Hattons. Now, as you may have been aware already, Hattons closed literally just a couple of days before this review. And obviously they announced their closure at the beginning of this year. So, you know, I saw this on their website for a really good price of £50, and I just couldn't resist it. I've been after a Grange class for quite a while. Obviously they were having a big, clear out sale because all the stock had to go for obvious reasons. But yeah, I mean, it is quite a shame seeing one of the UK's largest model railway retailers just basically close. They didn't go under, they didn't go bust or anything, they just simply closed. Obviously going bust basically means they go bankrupt. They didn't go bankrupt, they just looked at their forecast and they went, right, we'll just have to close shop basically. Bankruptcy basically means that they're in so much debt that they just can't keep operating. In their case, they just looked at their forecast and just went, it's just not viable to keep on operating. So yeah, I mean, it is a shame, but thankfully there's several other retailers out there, for model railways, and yeah. But this is quite significant in that sense. My final ever purchase from Hattons. Now, we'll talk about the real Grange class for a bit. So, the Grange class, they are a class of 80 460 locomotives built by the Great Western Railway to the design of Charles Collett. They were built at Swindon Works between 1936 and 1939. The locomotives were built using reconditioned parts from some withdrawn 4300 class locomotives. The 4300 classes were the moguls, and basically a lot of the moguls had to be withdrawn. To be precise, 100 of the 4300 moguls had to be withdrawn in order to build the Grange class. So what they basically did, they got the driving wheels from the 4300s and they just built a brand new boiler on top. That's basically all they did. They just kept the driving wheels from the 4300. The driving wheels on the Grange class, these were mixed traffic locomotives. The driving wheels on the Grange class are actually smaller than on the Hall class, which was of course another mixed traffic design from the Great Western. This gave the locomotives a bit more torque, especially for goods trains. And these were also known as the Grange class because all 80 were named after, well, Granges, but they were officially known as the 6800 class. And they worked, fairly normal lives until they were all scrapped between 1960 and 1965, and none of them were preserved. However, there is currently, as we speak, one under construction, a totally new design, a totally new build. The 81st member of the class, as it's called, number 6880 Betton Grange, is currently under construction at Tyseley, and I believe at the time of making this video it is nearing completion. So hopefully we'll see a Grange class run again very soon on the Heritage Railway circuit. I'm not too sure if they want to go, if they want to go main line, but definitely on the heritage railways we'll see it running. That locomotive is built using brand new frames, newly constructed, but the boiler was taken from a modified hall which was saved from Barry Scrapyard. So, you know, all 80 original members of the class scrapped, but thankfully a new build is on the horizon. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the box to one side because the locomotive is not in the box, and the locomotive itself is right here. We'll look at the engine first and then the tender. Well, what can I say? I mean, it's beautiful. You know, all Great Western engines are just so elegant, especially the 460s are very, very elegant locomotives. And you can clearly see the weathering, which is it's okay. I mean, it's not the best, but generally Hornby's weathering isn't all that good. But it looks okay. I mean, it kind of adds a bit of it adds a bit of finesse to the model in a way, but yeah, no, obviously it could have been better, but yeah, it's alright, it's good. Anyway, let's start at the front. These two lights I've added myself using black tack. Now bearing in mind this is a second-hand model, so there might be some bits missing and whatnot, as you can probably tell from the box that this this is a second-hand model, but it was such a good price I literally just couldn't resist it. I'm not too sure if Hornby still make the Grange class. I've not seen it in their range for quite a while, but if they did, it would probably cost 3 times as much as what I paid for this one, knowing Hornby. But yeah, anyway, so it's got a very, very characteristic look of a Great Western 460 locomotive. As you can clearly tell, the smoke box start is missing, but it's fine. I've got a few other locos with the same kind of feature missing. You do get sprung buffers on the front, although this particular one here seems to be stuck, and I can see it is broken. So I think the previous owner must have super glued it, but it's alright, we can live with that one sprung buffer. But you can clearly see that they're weathered as well. You get a coupling hook on the front, which I'm not too sure if it was included in the detail pack, but yeah. And we'll move on to the side. You can see you've got tons of separately fitted details, such as the handrails, and I think that this kind of steam pipe that runs behind the handrail. Also, this pipe work just here is all very, very intricately applied. The valve gear itself is very, very intricately applied as well. Again, typical Great Western valve gear. There's the name, Frankton Grange. And I do have to handle the model quite carefully because it is very delicate. Other side as well, the valve gear looks really nice, as does the handrail. You can see you get a painted, this time, no, actually, no, that's a polished Great Western safety valve bonnet. Again, a very, very typical design for the Great Western. You got the 2 whistles, again, you know, very typical Great Western feature, one high, one low. The high whistle is the main kind of warning whistle. The low tone is the brake whistle. So when the driver pulls the low tone, it signals to the guard in the brake van at the other end of the train that he would like the basically the what's it called? Sorry, the brake van's brakes basically need to come on, which is obviously essential on unfitted goods trains, which this class would have hauled. And there's number 6816, and this is of course painted on this number plate, but I am thinking of kind of what's the word, enhancing it with some etch number plates. We'll see. The red disc indicates the route availability. So in this case, the route availability of the Grange class wasn't, it was a bit restricted. It was very similar to what the halls could basically run on. They were restricted from some secondary routes, such as the Cambria network and stuff. But yeah, that's what the discs basically meant. This just basically meant route availability. Look, if we look at the cab looks really nice. You can clearly see the typical Great Western reversing handle, the regulator and the brake handle. and obviously in common with all other Great Western locomotives, it is right-hand drive, a feature which it was seen on some other British steam locomotives, but most notably the Great Western used right-hand drive right up until the very end of steam there. And yeah, and all this kind of all these handrails and this pipework, again, very, very intricate around the cab. So yeah, all in all, the engine just looks superb. I mean, bearing in mind that this model is over 10 years old, well over, I think it's about 15 years old actually. And, you know, obviously, you know, this is when Hornby were making really good models. You know, some of their newer models, the quality is quite questionable, but this, you know, the quality of this model is really, really nice. You know, it just goes to show how things have changed, really. But yeah, but let's have a look at the, oh, this sandpipe seems to be a bit, I'll have to fix that. This sandpipe seems to be bending upwards. Yeah, I'll have to fix that. Anyway, let's put the locomotive down, oh, sorry, the engine down. We'll have a look at the tender, which is a typical Collet 4,000 gallon tender. You can see you get the British Railways early emblem on there. The weathering looks okay, not the best. Again, the coal load looks nice, and it is actually removable, but I've not attempted it as of yet, although I am thinking of adding real coal onto there. And forgot to mention, this does have the older style engine to tender connection with the pin, and it's also got electrical contacts, so all 6 of the tender wheels, they do actually pick up. You can also see you get the water scoop there, and the brake rigging, which presumably was added by the previous owner. You get the water filler cap there, you get the handrails which are separately fitted, and the ladders too, and sorry, not the ladders, the steps, and yep, sprung buffers on the back as well, and a NEM, is that a NEM? Yep, that does look like a NEM socket, although rather unusually it's missing the pocket. As long as it holds, I don't really mind. Yeah, it is second hand, but yeah, it does have a bit of weight to it. The locomotive has the engine has quite a bit of weight to it, so it shouldn't have any problems with traction. But yeah, all in all, very impressed with this model based on appearance. It's an old model, but yeah, it looks really nice. But looks are one thing. How does this model actually perform? Let's find out. So here we have the Hornby Grange class, Frankton Grange on the track. And what we're going to do, we're going to select the number and watch her go. And away she goes. So this is halfway speed, running in speed. Yeah, she's running really well. Wow. Very smooth for a 15-year-old locomotive. Yeah, let's get a few shots of her passing. So yeah, very nice runner. I mean, well, you know, second-hand model, well worth the money. Beautiful. So just to conclude this video, if you can get one for a good price, I highly recommend it. It's a very, very nice model. I'm not too sure what the current recommended retail prices for these, but you can get quite a few on the second-hand market, and it's a really, really nice model, the Grange class. Of course, as mentioned, this is my final ever purchase from Hattons. Obviously due to the, oh god, it's lost focus. Of course, due to the unfortunate circumstances surrounding the company, of course, what happened, the closing down, but yeah, but it's still a really, really nice model. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.